Hello, welcome to my lesson on the fundamental unit of the nervous system, the neuron. The nervous system consists of approximately 100 billion neurons and even more glial cells, which provide insulation, support, and protection to the neurons. The neurons serve as an interconnected communication line for transferring information throughout the body through chemical and electrical signals. The neuron is vital to all human function, allowing individuals to think, talk, walk, and so much more. Interestingly, the neurons are composed of many components. Please join me in understanding the complexities of the neuron. First, number one on my model is the dendrite. The dendrite is a branch extension of the neuron that serves as an input site where it receives chemical signals or neurotransmitters from the axon terminal of another neuron in the synapse. Next, number two on my model is the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a semipermeable membrane, which means that the membrane acts as a bodyguard, allowing certain molecules to enter or exit the neuron, ultimately protecting it. Moving on, the cell body, or the soma, is number three on my diagram. The cell body is home to the nucleus and also the dendrites. The cell body is responsible for maintaining homeostasis and ensuring the health of the neuron. Additionally, the cell body processes the signals received from the dendrites, interpreting them and deciding to generate an action potential while producing neurotransmitters. Number four on my model is the nucleus. Fortunately, the nucleus houses and protects all the neuron's DNA, which provides a genetic blueprint for the neuron's development and function. Additionally, the nucleus acts as the brain of the neuron. Next, number five on my model is the axon hillock. The axon hillock is the merging point between the axon and the cell body, and to continue sending an electrical signal, it must reach the threshold potential at the axon hillock. Moving on, number six is the axon. The axon is responsible for carrying nerve impulses away from the cell body into the axon terminal. Number seven is the myelin sheath, which protects and covers the axon of a neuron. The myelin sheath is primarily composed of lipids, increasing the speed of the electrical signal. Without the myelin sheath protection, the neuron could not properly transfer information. Number eight is the Schwann cell. This component is responsible for the production of the myelin sheath as a support in glial cell. Number nine is the node of Ranvier, a small gap in between the myelin sheath facilitating rapid and efficient signal transmission to other neurons. Finally, number 10 represents the axon terminal. This is a specialized structure at the end of the neuron that releases neurotransmitters into the targeted next neuron. This activity is vital for synaptic transmission and allowing communication to unfold and release into another dendrite. After reviewing the various components of a neuron, understanding how one stimuli is communicated through neurons is vital. First of all, a stimulus is something that invokes energy and triggers a response from an individual. For this demonstration, I will explain how hunger is communicated between neurons. First, the body must recognize its hunger through hormones, stimulating appetite. The hypothalamus must process the stimulus through neurons to communicate with parts of the brain associated with appetite. To begin, the signal must move rapidly down the axon to the axon terminals where neurotransmitters must be released by synaptic vessels into the synapse, a small space between the axon terminal of one neuron and the dendrite of another. Once released, the neurotransmitters bind with their respective receptors through an established lock and key relationship. When neurotransmitters bind to the dendrite receptors, this allows ion channels to open, allowing positive sodium ions and negative chloride ions into the cell, allowing the inside to become more positively charged. If enough positively charged ions enter the cell, the neuron releases a threshold of excitement at the axon hillock, triggering an action potential. Once triggered, the action potential will not stop, opening up channels from sodium to enter and potassium to exit. This continues all the way from the axon to the axon terminal. Once the active potential reaches the axon terminal, it signals calcium channels to open, signaling to release the neurotransmitters binding to their receptors, allowing the signal to be transported to another neuron. Once the signals are received, the remaining neurotransmitters are broken down, drift away, or reabsorbed through refutate, or repumping the neurotransmitter back into the neuron that it was released from, ultimately clearing the synapse. The reaction will continue until the brain recognizes hunger. Thank you so much for listening to my description of a neuron and its functions. Understanding each component and their contributions can increase appreciation and awareness for surrounding neurons and their importance to survival of all human beings. Each neuron is a member of a much larger system, the human body. Through studying neurons, I discovered I'm like a neuron. I communicate with family and friends numerous times daily. Through my presentation, I hope you can better understand yourself and the fascinating world of neurons.